Rob Tebbutt for Boxing News, joined by Sonny Edwards. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona, following your stoppage loss to Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Sonny, first and foremost, how are you? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. It's 5:38 in the morning. Got out of the ring about 6, 7 hours ago. Um, yeah, maybe my pride's hurt a little bit, but it's a boxing ring. I know what can happen. Bam, great fighter. Yeah, it went my night tonight.
Obviously, kind of point out the elephant in the room. You're sitting there like you're Darth Edwards. You do have some markings under the eye. Just to confirm, you're all well. Everything's all good. Obviously, there were some reports that you went to the hospital for treatment.
Yeah, it was just my eye. There was this expected damage to my eye, and when I got to the hospital, they confirmed it. Um, yeah, that's all it was. The rest of my body, hands, legs, head, everything feels great, to be honest. But just this eye, yeah, just the eye, man.
So, talk to me about the fight. Obviously, coming up short tonight. First and foremost, you must be very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm very ambitious. I'm a big believer in myself as well. I didn't really think too much about losing that fight. Obviously, I knew Bam was a great fighter. He is a great fighter. But you know, the hardest challenges of what I've always looked for. Um, I guess I found that last night. Credit to Bam and his team. I think it was a great performance. Feel a little bit unfortunate on my side for how things happened and when they happen, but um, you know, the best fighters adapt, and you know, Bam came away with a win on the night.
Obviously, you made no bones about your feeling that this was number one versus number two in the division. Was there anything that he did in there that surprised you? Was he better than you expected him to be?
Nah, I knew it'd be good. Um, I knew it'd be good. I knew he'd be have good footwork. I knew he'd hit hard, so I wasn't surprised by anything. I was expecting a hard fight, and I got one. I felt at times I gave as good as I got, but yeah, I feel like when it mattered, the big moments in the fight, he was just better. So yeah, it went the way it did.
You mentioned kind of giving as good as you've got. I think the general feeling is that you dug in some really tough moments in there and kind of proved that you could fight on the inside as well. Was that something that you'd planned to do, or was it something that Bam forced you to do? It seemed as though we didn't see the more fleet-footed version of you tonight as we saw in previous fights.
Yeah, well, I think I started nice. I think it's no secret that my eye was marked from the second round. You know, I feel like my vision throughout the fight was noticeably impaired for me. Obviously, I know no one else cares about that. It's no one else's perspective. But I was trying to do everything I could, and I was trying to react to everything I could. But with what I was seeing, sometimes it was hard with someone with the movement and the reflexes of Bam. Um, but yeah, no excuses. He was the better man on the night, and like I said, in the big moments of the fight, he came out on top. So all best to Bam. But whether or not I feel like I was forced to, I feel like there was times when I knew trying to do what I wanted to do was getting me beat. I was losing rounds, and with the conversations we had in the corner, you know, it was, you know, go big or go home at that time. And then I thought I had a decent round until getting put down, and at that point I felt like my vision wasn't where I needed it to be. Grant was already a bit onto me about, you know, his opinion on the fight, and my face more so. But yeah, Grant made the decision, and here we are.
Obviously, the end of the fight is one of the talking points that I raised from the fight. I mean, I think we can be honest enough with each other. You've spoken openly in the past about kind of the ways that fights end, the Q word thrown around a lot in boxing. What are your kind of interpretations of how the fight ended and kind of, yeah, the reasons for it ending, I suppose?
Um, well, obviously, like I said, in my opinion and my perspective of the fight, from the second round, my eye had suffered some visible damage. It was noticeable in my eye. Yeah, I was trying my best. Bam was a great fighter, a great opponent. Um, and yeah, Grant from, you know, around the eighth round was really telling me that, you know, you don't realize what your face looks like. So he was telling me basically make something happen now. He's not standing there and watching this. So yeah, I kind of made the decision to double down really trying to go out there and do something in the fight whilst I could. Resulted in me getting dropped quite heavy, and at that point I knew that I was skating on thin ice with my how much I could see out my left eye, and against a very, very good fighter that was coming on the ascendancy. Grant pulled the fight, and no complaints from me, to be honest. Because at that point, I think I was honest with him for the first time and said, Grant, I can't see this, can't. Do you know what I mean? And it was a hard thing to admit, but, like, in the meanwhile of being in the fight, it doesn't matter what's going on, really. I'm just fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and just doing whatever I can to get by. Because I do love it there. I love it in the ring. I love the event. I love being part of a fight that people genuinely cared about. I feel like, okay, I was the away fight. It was my favourite ring walk ever. You know, walking into like a genuine atmosphere. Everyone cared about what was going on in the ring. Every seat that was uncurtained was sold. You know what I mean? It was great. And as a flyweight, I don't think I was ever really expecting to have that moment. I grew up seeing flyweights always as the entree. You know what I mean? Always as the support. Even maybe a world title fight in the second on the broadcast, etc. So, yeah, man, I'm still really, I'm grateful. I feel like, yeah, very disappointed, very out of what I was expecting, unfortunately, but at the same time, sitting back and looking where I came from, where people thought I was going to get to, what I was going to be capable of achieving. Yeah, okay, this is a setback, but I'm still very grateful for what I've got, what I've achieved, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter, to be honest.
There's a story that you told me a while ago, and I've waited a long time to ask you about it. You did tell it earlier on in the night, but I'm going to ask you about it again. A certain conversation you had with one Eddie Hearn many moons ago at Matchroom Office. And why don't you tell me about that story?
So I remember, I was thinking about turning pro, and I was turning pro, but I didn't turn pro just yet. And my brother was signed with Eddie. Went down when Charlie had a meeting, or no, he did a filming day, I think, for the Casemiro fight maybe. And, we had a little talk. I told him that I'm turning pro, maybe light flyweight, and he laughed and went, "What are you gonna fight for? £1,500 for a world title?" And it was obviously quite shocking to hear, come out of the mouth of, at the time, Britain's biggest boxing promoter, I guess, and my brother's boxing promoter especially, but he weren't far wrong at the time. Like, the money just wasn't there for like flyweights. I'm really even flyweight, so to see where we've managed, I'm 27, about to turn 28, but I still feel like I've got years left. Like, I think my whole life's gonna be completely submerged by boxing. I don't know how I'll leave the industry. So every step I'm taking is like there's negatives right now. I lost Mo. I'm not world champion no more. But at the same time, I'm taking big steps in the right direction, getting involved in big events, crossing over to America, unification fights. Like, there's still so much to think positive for and look forward to the future, because I know I've not got nothing else. So the moment these all swell down and my cuts and swelling goes whatever, then yeah, I'm straight back on the horse. And yeah, we've already had conversations. This is how my mind works. I come out of that fight and I'm having conversations with Frank and Eddie straight away about what I'm wanting next, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess my mindset's a bit different. I know I'm here and I ain't got nothing else, so I take the positives, I take the rough with the smooth. And yeah, it was Bam's night tonight. I respect boxing, I respect fighters. He had a hell of a fight. He busted up my face real good, so yeah, man, the best man won tonight, but I'll be back. I know I'll be back.
Just final one from me. You mentioned there the future. You were talking about potentially light flyweight, the winner of the Curiel-Notchinga rematch, or going after somebody else. Maybe we could finally, eventually see the Julio Cesar Martinez fight at flyweight. Who knows? What is the future for you? You mentioned that you're planning ahead as soon as you're getting out of the ring. What do you think we can see next for you?
Well, I feel like I've got loads of options. Like, genuinely, okay, not this fight, but my fight before. I actually weighed in at 49.8 when I checked my weight, and then when I had a drink, like, I was a kilo above, no, less than a kilo above light flyweight, over a kilo under actual flyweight. So I know I can make it. I was doing that comfortably, and yeah, it's probably where I could really drop down, especially and look to fight as the IBF champion. Obviously, no longer, but I think I'll hire a good regard with the IBF. So, and also the fight with me probably makes it a lot easier to make because there's probably a much bigger purse availability for these sort of fights with someone like me that's already been built up and been in big events, headlined, etc. however many times, and can, you know, sell and market a fight quite well, I think. But I could do that. Still, I think, depending on what Bam does, I don't know if he's going to stay, I don't know if he's going to go up, but, you know, there's options still down here at flyweight. I don't know, I'd go anywhere. So for me, I feel like everything's an option. It's just the conversations that, you know, Eddie Hearn's still my promoter, so whatever conversation he wants to have with me about what's next. Real fights only. I don't need confidence. I don't need, you know, tick over, step overs in between. Just chuck me straight back in the deep end and I'll go again and I'll go again and I'll go again. Losing to one great fight don't make me feel any less of a great fighter. I feel like on a slightly different day, things could have went a slightly different way. Whether that would have went my way, I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But yeah, man, I'm still very confident about my future, my career prospects. I know how I felt in there today, and I don't think I was completely outclassed. I felt like things just didn't go right for me maybe on the night that they needed to, when on other nights they have. So yeah, it's just one of those things.
Okay, well, Sonny Edwards, thank you very much for your time. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing News, and yeah, I think it's fair to say that it was a fun week and a fun fight. The first flyweight unification bout in 11 years, would you believe? So a great bit of activity for the division. Congratulations, great gutsy performance, and thank you very much for speaking to Boxing News.
No, thanks for your time, and thanks for the McDonald's breakfast as well. That's how you bought your interview.
Worth every penny. Well done.